Desperate single mom's heartwarming message to the wrong man reveals an incredible millionaires. Lisa wiped her brow, the heat of the griddle mingling with her rising stress. The diner buzzed with the cacophony of clattering dishes and chattering patrons, but all she could hear were the echoing burdens of her life, the bills piling up, the relentless cycle of work, and the spirited laughter of her daughter, Emily, that underscored her daily struggles. With her worn apron tied firmly at her waist, Lisa pushed through the day's exhaustion, serving coffee and comforting meals with a smile that masked her worries. Yet, as she poured herself into each order, hope crumbled under the weight of financial worries. After a particularly long shift filled with rude customers and unforgiving orders, she finally found a moment of respite in the back corner of the diner. Lisa glanced at her phone and, with trembling fingers, began typing a message to her best friend, pouring her heart into the screen, her dreams, her despairs, the bittersweet reality of motherhood. But in her fatigued state, she sent it to Jack, the aloof millionaire who'd recently moved to Havenwood, rather than her friend. Jack, curious about the unexpected message, read her heartfelt words, tracing the lines filled with raw emotions that radiated authenticity. "I'm just trying to keep my head above water," she had written. "Every day feels like an uphill battle, but Emily's smile keeps me going." Something in her words ignited a spark within Jack. For the first time, he paused his fast-paced life, captivated by her sincerity. Days turned into nights as they traded messages, and a friendship blossomed from words that were never meant for him. With every exchange, Lisa felt the flutter of feelings she thought she'd buried, a gentle affection that clashed with the walls she'd erected around her heart. Jack, in turn, glimpsed the beauty and strength of the community, understanding the essence of hardship through Lisa's eyes. Yet, the fear of their vastly different worlds loomed over them like a shadow. But as their bond deepened, Havenwood faced a crisis that threatened to unravel all Lisa had built. An unexpected storm hit the diner, forcing layoffs and putting her job at risk. Her life slipped into chaos, and the very support Jack had intended to offer distorted into something that alienated their neighbors. In trying to help Lisa, Jack unwittingly triggered a backlash against his generosity that stung and pained Lisa's heart. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Caught between loyalty and fear, Lisa stood at a crossroads. Would she protect her pride, or embrace the kindness that Jack offered? It was a struggle that echoed through her heart, each beat resonating with uncertainty. Jack had to decide if he would leverage his resources to mend the rift he'd unwittingly created. The community was divided, and the threads of connection were fraying. Both faced the impending confrontation, where truths would emerge that neither expected. As tensions reached a boiling point, Jack knew he had to act, aware that indifference would only deepen the void between them. Lisa felt her world tighten, each breath heavy with the weight of unanswered questions. Could love really thrive amidst societal expectations? Or would their differences pull them apart forever? The fear of losing this fragile bond, born from raw honesty and shared perseverance, hung in the air, leaving only one certainty: change was looming, and it would demand their strength. Lisa's heart raced as she sat in the break room, the smell of burnt coffee mixing with the tension crackling in the air. It felt like the entire diner was holding its breath. Outside, dark clouds loomed overhead, mirroring the storm brewing inside her mind. What would she say to Jack? How could she address the anger and frustration of a community she so desperately wanted to belong to? Now that his intentions had gone awry, her fingers hovered over her phone. After the last exchange with Jack, where she tried to distance herself, pushing away his offer of help, she felt a knot of regret tighten in her stomach. Seeing her daughter's face light up when she mentioned a fun day out with Jack had only made things harder. Emily was innocent, full of hope and laughter, but Lisa felt heavy with doubt. "Mommy?" Emily's small voice broke through Lisa's thoughts, pulling her back from the precipice of worry. The little girl stood at the edge of the break room, clutching a stuffed bunny. Can we go see the park today? I want to slide. Lisa managed to smile, but it felt brittle. We will, sweetheart, just as soon as I finish my shift. As the clock ticked down, the evening crowd settled in, laughter and conversation spilling around her like music. She served plates with an extra bit of love, forcing herself to push aside the weight of Jack's offer. But beneath the surface, doubts churned furiously. Was she being ridiculous by rejecting someone who genuinely cared? Maybe he could help without making things worse, without losing the respect of the people in her town. That night, after putting Emily to bed, Lisa took a moment to breathe. Instead of resisting Jack's message, she decided to face it head-on. She typed carefully, trying to find the right words. Jack, we need to talk. I can't pretend anymore. It's not just me who's affected. It's the whole diner, this community. It's complicated. The next morning brought a flutter of anxiety. She knew Jack would reply. Would he be angry or understanding? The bell above the diner's door jingled, and there he was, walking in with an air of purpose that raised her heartbeat. Jack's smile widened when he saw her, but something in his eyes and unguarded concern triggered a flood of emotions within her. Hey, I got your message, he said, his tone softening. I wanted to talk. Lisa felt her chest tighten. Can we sit? The tables were filled, busy with patrons enjoying their morning breakfasts, but she desperately needed to talk away from prying eyes. They found a corner booth where the morning sun cast soft light across the table. Jack leaned forward, sincerity etched in his features. I get it. I didn't mean to cause trouble. I just wanted to help. And there it was, the bridge between them, made of honesty and vulnerability, yet dark clouds loomed over it, threatening to shatter it at any moment. Would she let his kindness mend what was broken, or would her pride keep her from stepping forward? I don't want anyone in this town to think I'm using you, she admitted. But I'm drowning, Jack. He met her gaze, the weight of unspoken understanding heavy in the air. You don't have to do this alone. You deserve support, and I want to be there for you, for Emily. A thought lingered at the edges of her mind. Maybe it was time to embrace help and let go of pride. The loud chatter faded into the background as she considered the possibilities, but then, from the corner of her eye, she noticed a group of locals watching them intently. The tension returned, and with it, the fear of what her answer might mean for Havenwood. How could she possibly make the right decision here? The moment hung there, delicate yet charged with impending change. In an instant, she had to choose. Would she take Jack's hand, or pull away to protect her shattered pride? And what would that choice mean for both of them? As she opened her mouth to speak, a loud crash from the diner's kitchen jolted her from her thoughts, drawing everyone's attention. What now? She wondered. Anxiety danced through her chest. Whatever lay in wait would shake the very foundations of their delicate situation. Secret life. The crash echoed in the diner, pulling Lisa back to the present. Silence suffocated the air for a brief moment as heads turned toward the kitchen. The usual clatter of dishes and laughter evaporated, replaced by the sharp scent of fried food and uncertainty swirling like a tempest. Stay here, Jack murmured, his voice tight, as he slipped out of the booth toward the kitchen. Lisa wanted to protest, to tell him that she could handle this herself, but the worry in his eyes silenced her. Instead, she watched as he moved with determination, pulling open the swinging door and disappearing behind it. Time seemed to stretch as she sat alone in the booth, her heart racing. The diner's patrons whispered among themselves, a low hum of speculation. Each word swirled with doubt about her and Jack's interaction. No wonder she felt like a pariah mired in a struggle, believing no one could understand the battle between vulnerability and pride. Moments later, the kitchen door swung open again, revealing Jack and a few employees. They emerged with a spilled pot of gravy, the contents coating the floor like a sticky brown lake. The cook, a burly man with an apron stained from years of culinary battles, was grumbling about the mess while Jack tried to appear calm, brushing off the chaos like it was just another day on the job. I'll help clean it up, Jack said, his face flushed from both embarrassment and exertion. He turned back to Lisa, a charming smile breaking through the tension. We can talk afterward. It's just a gravy incident. But it wasn't just a gravy incident. Lisa felt the weight of every unspoken word that loomed between them. every glance from the locals serving as a reminder of her precarious situation. It hit her hard. Would Jack still be there after the mess was cleaned up, or would he pull away, realizing she was more trouble than she was worth? As she rose to help, the desire to bridge that heartbreaking gap between them surged. Just as she reached the edge of the booth, the diner's door swung open again, and in walked Clara, the diner's most influential regular. Her presence was commanding, her sharp gaze scanning the room like a hawk. "Jack, what is going on here? You're supposed to be managing, not wrestling with gravy." Clara's voice was a mix of authority and concern, and it drew the eyes of every patron. Lisa felt her cheeks burn at being cornered by the very community she wished to impress. Jack stepped forward, his hands raised in peace. "It's okay, Clara. Just a small accident. We're handling it." Small accident? Lisa thought, glancing at the chaos. She couldn't help but notice the flicker of doubt in the eyes of others watching. Was this the moment where they would all conclude she was incapable of managing this? "Lisa," Clara's voice became softer as she turned toward her. "Are you okay? You're looking a bit pale there." Lisa tried to muster a smile, tried to stand tall despite the heaviness in her chest. "I'm fine, Clara. Just thinking." "Thinking, huh? Use your brain wisely. We're all counting on you," she said with a knowing glance at Jack before pivoting back to the chaos unfolding. Those words hit hard, zipping through Lisa like a bolt of lightning. Was she really prepared to stand in the eye of judgment, the center of her own storm? This was more than just gravy. This was about her life, her daughter, and whether she could accept that help was never a sign of weakness. As Clara walked away, turning to chat with an elderly gentleman by the counter, Lisa felt an urge welling inside her to finally speak up to claim her truth. She looked at Jack, who was wiping gravy off his hands, that reassuring smile still lingering as he looked back at her, unflinching and patient. "Jack," she took a breath, her voice more confident than moments before, "I'm ready to talk. But I need you to promise me something first." But before she could finish, another crash echoed from the kitchen, this time followed by an angry shout. Jack's expression turned serious, and with the tension rising yet again, Lisa's heart sank. What else could go wrong today? Would she ever get to say what she needed to? Or would this day turn into yet another disaster? As uncertainty hung in the air, she felt the world around her shift. The shouting from the kitchen turned Lisa's blood cold. She instinctively glanced at Jack, whose features hardened as he rushed back into the chaos. The kitchen was usually a distant world of sizzling pans and laughter, but now it felt like a battleground. Lisa's mind raced. She was frozen, torn between wanting to run in and help Jack and the urge to sit back, to let him handle whatever storm was brewing inside those walls. But fear nipped at her heels, a fear that this was just the beginning of something worse, that perhaps this wasn't just about gravy. As whispers wafted around her, Lisa felt the great weight of every judgmental gaze, every hushed conversation. She was the cause of this mess, an interloper whose presence disrupted the diner's fragile balance. What did they think of her? The single mom desperate for acceptance, or the woman who dragged Jack, their golden boy, into something unsavory? She pressed her hands against the table, feeling the dull thrum of uncertainty in her chest. She had come so far. But what if the path ahead was littered with despair? Minutes felt like hours, and finally the kitchen door creaked open again. Jack emerged, his clothes spattered with more than just gravy now, the worry lines on his forehead deepening. "Hey, Lisa," he called out, his voice trying to sound light. "Just a small fire. It's all handled." But the tremor in his tone betrayed him. "Small fire?" she echoed, trying to mask her concern with humor, but it fell flat. Patrons turned their heads back to their meals. Some resumed their conversations, but a few stared at her, their expressions caught somewhere between pity and judgment. "Yeah, just an old grease trap that ignited," he said, turning a fierce glance toward the kitchen as though it would answer his unasked questions. "The crew is cleaning it up. I'll have to deal with Clara, though." Lisa's heart sank even lower. Clara must be fuming. Her authoritative tone rang louder than any showdown Lisa had ever faced. "Jack, I don't mean to interrupt, but let us grab some coffee and talk," he suggested, a hopeful smile creeping back onto his face. She hesitated, feeling the weight of the world on her shoulders, but also the warmth of his invitation. He gestured toward a quieter corner of the diner, And in that moment, she knew she had to follow him. To bridge the distance she felt between them, they settled into a booth. The scent of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the aftermath of the kitchen chaos, creating a comforting atmosphere. Yet Lisa's heart pounded harder than before. This was her moment. Jack, her voice cracked slightly, revealing her vulnerability. I need you to know that it's not just about today. I've been struggling. I thought coming here would help me pull it together, but instead, hey, he interrupted gently, his eyes so earnest that she momentarily forgot about everything else. You can tell me anything. Just say it. Lisa inhaled deeply, summoning the words that had choked her in silence for too long. I feel like a mess, Jack. Like I'm dragging you down with me. The truth is I've been scared of reaching out. Scared you'll realize I'm not worth it. Time stopped as their eyes locked. She felt the tremor of honesty uncoil between them. Jack opened his mouth, but before he could respond, Clara stormed over, her expression fierce. Jack, we need to talk. This diner's reputation is on the line. The words were sharp, dissecting the tender moment, slicing through the connection Lisa had felt. Tension crackled in the air. Lisa felt small, invisible in the shadow of Clara's authority. But it also sparked something fierce inside her. Wait, Clara, Lisa found herself saying, her voice steadying. If we're going to count on each other, I think it's time we actually start talking. She felt Jack shift in his seat, a mix of surprise and admiration gleaming in his eyes. What would Clara say? The room was cold and judgmental again, but within Lisa, a flicker of determination ignited. Would she stand firm in her truth despite the impending storm? Or would Clara's looming presence shove her back into silence? As Clara crossed her arms, Lisa held her breath, knowing this confrontation could change everything. Clara's gaze volleyed between Jack and Lisa, a hard line drawn across her brow. This is not the time for whatever this is, she snapped, emphasizing her irritation. Actually, it is, Lisa countered, surprising herself with her own boldness. The surprised look on Clara's face gave Lisa a rush of strength. She wasn't here to be dismissed. Look, we all care about this diner and what it means to the community, right? Lisa continued, finding her stride. If we're going to work together, we need to be honest. No more hiding. Jack's expression shifted to one of awe, his lips twitching toward a smile. He must have felt the same wave of courage washing over him. Clara, she's right. We can't keep pretending everything is fine, especially after what just happened back there. Clara scoffed, but the slight furrow of her brow indicated her uncertainty. She shifted her weight from one foot to the other, the authority that had once seemed unshakable now wavering. Fine, I'll listen, Clara said, though her tone was reluctant. But this isn't a therapy session, Lisa. I need to know how you plan to help. And I don't want to hear about your personal struggles. Lisa felt the heat rise in her cheeks, but she pressed on. It may not be therapy, Clara, but everything is connected. If we're not working as a team, what do we have here? Nothing but a fractured system. The diner felt suffocating, the noise of clinking plates and murmurs of patrons fading into the background as the tension thickened. Lisa could sense the curiosity from the booth next to them, a couple stealing glances, their eyes flicking between the trio, whispering, judging. Jack and I are we're figuring things out together, Lisa said, her voice lowering as if to draw Jack closer. I came here looking for a fresh start. I want to be part of this community, to support this diner like it's my second home, and I need a chance to do that. Jack's eyes searched hers, filled with gratitude and something deeper. He nodded. We have to support each other, Clara. This diner can't thrive on fear and control. The cold, calculating look in Clara's eyes softened for a split second as the weight of Jack's words sank in. We need to present a united front, Clara finally said, her voice lower and tinged with a hint of vulnerability. The opening last week wasn't as successful as we hoped, and the fire it could hurt our reputation. Don't undermine that. Lisa took a deep breath, sensing that they were at a tipping point. Then let us brainstorm together. We could plan a community event. Bring people in, remind them of what we offer here. People thrive on connection, and right now, that's what we need. Clara hesitated, but the defiance in Lisa's tone seemed to chip away at her resolve. You're serious? Absolutely, Lisa replied, feeling the alliance forming between them. It was odd, standing beside Clara instead of at odds. We're in this together, all of us. Let us show the community that we care, that we're here for them. Jack placed his hand over hers on the table, a simple gesture that ignited something warm within Lisa. It wasn't just support, it was a promise of a partnership built on trust, not judgment. As Clara narrowed her eyes, the flicker of respect was undeniable. All right, we'll schedule a meeting to brainstorm ideas. But you need to understand, Lisa, this isn't just about you and Jack. We'll expect you to pull your weight. Fair enough, Lisa said, a smile creeping to her face, an unfamiliar feeling spreading through her. Just as the tension in the booth began to melt, the door swung open, and a new figure stepped inside. An imposing man with sharp features and an air of authority that instantly commanded attention. Lisa's heart sank. Could this be someone from Clara's past? Or perhaps an investor who only wanted to see the stormy chaos up close? Before she could even comprehend the implications, he locked eyes with Clara, and an unspoken history surfaced. What had she stepped into? The laughter and chatter of the diner faded into silence, leaving only the rush of her heartbeat echoing in her ears. What secrets would this man unravel? And how far-reaching would the impact be on Lisa's fledgling attempts to find her place? Lisa felt the air shift, the familiarity of the diner feeling strangely foreign all at once. The man's presence was electric, reviving tension that had barely begun to dissipate. She couldn't help but watch how Clara's expression flipped from mild irritation to something more guarded, more defensive. It was like seeing her armor snap back into place. Ethan, Clara said, her voice barely masking her discomfort. The name rolled off her tongue as if it was a bitter pill. Jack straightened up, casting glances between the two. Do you know him? Met him a while back at a business event, Clara replied curtly, her focus narrowing as Ethan advanced. His polished appearance and confident stride seemed to demand attention from everyone in the room. But somehow it made Clara retreat further into herself. Surprised to see you here, Ethan remarked casually, a smirk dancing at the edges of his lips. Heard the diner's been struggling. I guess that fire wasn't just an unfortunate twist of fate. Huh? Clara's jaw tightened. Don't start, Ethan. This isn't the time. The chatter that had filled the diner moments before shrank to whispers, customers surreptitiously peeking up from their plates, curiosity piqued by the charged atmosphere surrounding the trio. Lisa could feel the weight of eyes on her, a mixture of concern and intrigue. This wasn't just any confrontation. Clara appeared vulnerable in a way Lisa had never witnessed before. Was Clara afraid of him? I can help, Ethan offered, his voice smooth like silk, but with undertones of something sharper. You know I have the resources to turn this place around. No, Clara interjected, her tone a blanket of icy defiance. We don't need your help, Ethan. I'm not interested in your charity. But your pride might just cost you, he shot back, challenging her resolve with a flicker of annoyance. Lisa caught Jack's eyes, filled with worry but also a hint of determination. He squeezed Lisa's hand tighter, as if to say they were in this together. They had just begun to unite, and now this stranger threatened to unravel their nascent bond. What happened between you two? Jack asked suddenly, breaking the charged silence, his voice steady but laced with underlying curiosity. Ethan took a step closer, a glimmer of mischief flashing in his eyes. Just old acquaintances. Clara is a fascinating woman, isn't she? Always so driven. So proud. Enough, Clara growled, her fists clenched at her sides. It was a sight that sparked a mix of awe and fear within Lisa. This wasn't the Clara Lisa had grown to know bit by bit. It was a woman scarred by past decisions, unyielding even in crisis. Don't walk away from a conversation, Ethan pressed, his tone shifting slightly. You know what I can offer? I could help. What could he possibly want? Nothing came for free. Was he a wolf in sheep's clothing, or just a concerned investor with ulterior motives? Lisa's heart raced, wondering how deep Clara's history with him ran. The unyielding tension in the diner grew unbearable, each second extending into what felt like eternity. Clara shot him a warning glance, but failed to mask the flicker of doubt in her eyes. A fleeting vulnerability that caught Lisa off guard, an emotion she'd not expected to see from someone so strong-willed. The silence between them ached with unspoken words, doubt, and a tangle of unfinished business. Lisa felt an urgent need to act. Clara, she started, but Ethan raised his hand, silencing the room once more. It's a simple decision, Clara, you can either accept help or let pride lead you to failure. Think about it, he said, turning away with an air of finality, confident that he had planted the seeds of doubt that as he walked out the door, the tension remained, a specter hanging in the air. Clara's face was a mix of anger and fear, a potent reminder that sometimes the ghosts of the past don't just fade away. Are you okay? Lisa whispered, reaching out. Clara's eyes met hers, anguish swelling beneath the hardened shell. Yeah, I'll be fine. But we have to act fast before he thinks he can waltz in here whenever he wants. Facing the uncertainty that hung between them, Lisa felt a surge of determination. Then let us get to work. We will show him that this diner is worth fighting for. But deep inside, she couldn't shake the nagging feeling that Ethan's return was just the beginning of a storm that could change everything. What hidden truths were lurking in Clara's past, and how might Ethan use them to his advantage? Would they be strong enough to fend off the challenges ahead? The moment Clara took a deep breath, Lisa knew they had to make a plan. We can't sit idle. We have to show him that we're not afraid, Clara said, her voice rising with a strength that surprised even her. Jack nodded, the worry in his eyes replaced by a fierce determination. Okay, so what do we do first? He asked, leaning forward, his hands clasped on the table. Clara ran a hand through her hair, looking past them, as if searching the diner's walls for answers. We'll need to amp up our marketing. If we could get the word out that we're open for business, it might fight back against the narrative Ethan is trying to create. Lisa felt a spark of excitement. Social media? We could create a buzz around a new menu item or a special event. Exactly. Clara's eyes brightened. We can cover the diner in flyers, too. Maybe even have a local band play next weekend. Get people in here. Jack grinned, his enthusiasm infectious. I could help with the flyers. I know some graphic design stuff. It felt good to have a solid plan and a team working together. The tension for moments before began to thaw as they discussed logistics and ideas, laughter bubbling up as they tossed suggestions back and forth. For the first time since the fire, the diner felt alive again. But as they discussed details, Clara's gaze drifted to the door every few moments, as if waiting for Ethan to waltz back in, uninvited. Lisa could almost see the wheels turning in Clara's mind, the shadows of doubt creeping into her resolve. Clara, Lisa gently interrupted. What did he want from you? Was it just business? Clara hesitated, eyes narrowing. Ethan, he always thought he could swoop in and save the day, but it came with strings attached. I didn't want to owe him anything. Sounds like he's still trying to play that game, Jack said, a hint of anger creeping into his voice. We won tea, let him. No, we won tea, Clara agreed, though a trace of worry lingered in her expression. Lisa reached out and took Clara's hand, grounding her. We have each other. That's more than enough. Suddenly, the diner door swung open again, and the bell jingled cheerfully, a stark contrast to the heavy atmosphere that lingered. Clara's heart raced, but it was just an elderly couple seeking a cozy spot for pie and coffee. As their laughter faded back into the rhythm of diner life, Lisa noticed the warmth returning, even if it was just a flicker in the dim light. The contrast between the outside world and the sanctuary they were creating inside felt electric. They were fighting back. Let us start today, Clara said, her voice steadier. I'll handle the social media posts. You two can create those flyers, and we'll brainstorm the event ideas. Let us get people excited again. The three of them got to work, fueled by a wave of renewed purpose. Laughter and chatter filled the air, mixing with the sizzling of the grill and the clinking of silverware. For a while, it felt like the diner was more than just a building. It was their collective fortress against the storm brewing outside. But even as they started brainstorming, Clara couldn't shake the sense that Ethan wasn't done with them. She could almost hear his voice in her head, taunting her with the what-ifs. Late that afternoon, as they were wrapping up their flyer designs, a text pinged on Clara's phone. She glanced at it and felt her heart drop. It was from Ethan. Let us discuss your options over dinner tonight. I want to take no for an answer. Clara's stomach twisted. What did he want now? Clara? You all right? Jack's voice pulled her back to the present. Yeah, I'm fine, she started, but the words felt hollow. Inside, her mind raced. Would confronting Ethan only give him more power? Or could this be an opportunity to finally put an end to his interference? That evening would be crucial. She had to decide how far she was willing to go to protect everything she'd built. The stakes were higher than ever, and she felt it radiating through the diner walls. Are you going to meet him? Lisa asked, her tone cautious yet probing. I think I have to, Clara replied, uncertainty. Gnawing at her, they were balancing on the edge of a knife. Clara needed to face her past, but was she ready for what that meant? What darker truths lay in store if she decided to confront Ethan head-on? Was she strong enough to face whatever came out of the shadows? The diner felt charged as Clara wrapped up her flyers and placed her phone down, the weight of Ethan's message lingering like a dark cloud overhead. What was meant to be a night of hope now felt like a storm brewing in her heart. She glanced at Lisa and Jack, who were still lost in excitement over their designs, unaware of the battle raging inside her. Tonight, she whispered to herself, what do I say? As she stared into the distance, memories of Ethan flooded back. The charm, the confidence, the way he could manipulate every situation to his favor. The thought made her stomach churn. How had she ever let him get so close? Clara, what do you think about this color? Jack's voice broke through her reverie. The bright red flyer glowed under the diner's fluorescent lights. Yeah, it looks great, she managed to reply, forcing a smile. But the truth was, she was miles away, wrestling with her thoughts about dinner. Lisa noted the shift in Clara's mood. Hey, you okay? We can talk about the colors later. Let us focus on you. Clara took a deep breath, her heart thumping against her ribcage. I've got dinner plans with Ethan tonight. Silence enveloped them like a heavy blanket. Lisa's eyes widened with concern, while Jack's usually upbeat demeanor dropped. Are you sure that's a good idea? I don't think I have a choice, Clara admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. I need to confront him, to show him I'm not afraid anymore. Or he could twist your words, Clara, Jack cautioned. He is good at that. What if he tries to drag you back into his games? Lisa nodded, squeezing Clara's hand. You have us. We'll be here waiting, ready to back you up no matter what. Just promise to be careful. I promise, Clara said, grateful for their support, but still feeling the weight of uncertainty. But I can't let him control me anymore. This is my life, my diner. I have to take a stand. As the evening approached, Clara donned her favorite teal dress, the one that hugged her curves just right, trying to build a shield of confidence. She couldn't shake the feeling that tonight wasn't just about dinner. It felt like a reckoning, a moment that would reverberate through her life. With every step towards the restaurant where she would meet Ethan, her pulse quickened. The lights of the town twinkled like stars, reflecting her mounting anxiety. What would he say? Would he be charming as ever? Or would the confrontation turn ugly? When she finally arrived, Clara took a moment to collect herself outside the door, inhaling the musky scent mixed with the smell of fresh bread. She pushed the door open, the chime jingling above her a reminder that this was still her world. Ethan was already seated at a table in the corner, his confident posture oozing arrogance. He looked up with a smirk that made her blood boil. Clara, he drawled, making her name sound like silk. I was beginning to think you wouldn't show. She felt a rush of emotions. Anger, determination, fear. As she approached the table, a voice crept into her mind. This was her moment. You don't get to control me anymore, Ethan, she stated, her voice steadier than she felt. His smile faltered slightly, but he quickly regained composure. Now, we can be reasonable here. Let us talk, shall we? Every nerve in her body screamed to retreat, but she stood firm. I'm tired of your games. And in that moment, as she set the tone before him, she felt a flicker of power. But would it last? The conversation took a turn, twisting and turning like a ride on a roller coaster. Clara was about to uncover truths that might change everything. What secrets would spill into the open when they began to talk? As they exchanged words, Clara realized the stakes were higher than she ever imagined. Would she find the truth she needed, or was this just the beginning of a deeper game? The tension thickened in the air as Clara and Ethan exchanged wary glances across the table. Clara's heart raced with each word spoken, the memory of their past clinging to her like an unwanted shadow. Ethan leaned back, a nonchalant smirk still plastered on his face, but there was something cold in his eyes, a flicker of defensiveness that she hadn't expected. Games, he echoed, his tone mocking. You think I'm playing games? I was here to help you, Clara. I thought we were past all that. Help me? She scoffed, crossing her arms defiantly. You mean manipulate me until I didn't know where I stood? No, I won't let you twist my words any longer. For a moment, Silence filled the space between them, thick and tense. She could feel the gaze of other patrons turning their way, their curiosity piqued by the unfolding drama. Ethan leaned in closer, lowering his voice. What do you really want, Clara? Is it revenge? Or are you just trying to prove a point? The way he studied her made her skin crawl. I want control of my life, my choices, she shot back, willing herself not to flinch under his probing stare. I want to stand up for myself, not only for me, but for my daughter too. A flicker of something perhaps surprise crossed Ethan's face. Your daughter? Yes, Clara replied, feeling her determination strengthen. And if I have to expose you to protect her, then that's what I'll do. Because I'm done being the woman you think you can walk all over. Ethan's expression shifted, a hint of concern breaking through his cool exterior. You wouldn't want that kind of trouble, Clara. Think about what you're saying. Trouble? She scoffed. You don't know the meaning of the word. You think I'm afraid of losing something you have. You're wrong. Her words hung in the air, and she searched his face for a reaction. The thought of what lay on the other side of this conversation ignited a fire within her. She might be scared, but the old Clara who had let him lead her around no longer existed. Let us not forget you're the one with secrets, she pressed, feeling the heat rise in her chest. What are you hiding, Ethan? Why are you really here? He raised an eyebrow, the smirk reappearing. Secrets? Everyone has them, Clara. You think you can simply demand the truth from me? I can't, she replied, her heart pounded. But I won't let you control the narrative anymore. I deserve the truth. Ethan's demeanor shifted, the playful spark replaced by something darker. You're treading into dangerous territory, Clara. You don't know the kinds of people you're messing with. Maybe that's what I need, she said, her voice steady. To find out exactly who you are, what you're capable of, and how far you'll go to keep your secrets buried. He leaned back, a quiet fury brewing behind his calculated gaze. You really think you're ready for that? She nodded, adrenaline coursing through her veins. The door seemed to be opening, and she was determined to step through. Before she could reply, Ethan's phone buzzed on the table, the screen illuminating his face. He cast a quick glance at it, tension cracking his facade for just a second. She noticed a sudden shift in his demeanor, fingers tensed, and for the first time, uncertainty flickered in his eyes. What is it? Clara asked, curiosity mingling with her bravado. He hesitated, his brow furrowing as he read the message. Nothing you need to worry about, he muttered, his voice now eerily calm. But I think I do worry, Ethan, she pressed, feeling the reins of control slipping back toward him. What are you hiding? Their eyes locked, a battle of wills in that moment. What she had thought was a simple dinner had spiraled into something far bigger. But would she be able to grasp the truth before it slipped away? The uneasy silence felt like the calm before a storm, and Clara wouldn't back down. She took a breath, poised for the next move whatever it might be. But with Ethan, could she truly uncover what lay beneath his charming facade? A question lingered in the air, heavy with implication. Who was really pulling the strings? Clara felt her heart thunder in the quiet tension between her and Ethan. I'm ready to find out, she declared, her gaze unwavering. The certainty in her voice surprised even her, igniting a newfound strength within. I may not have all the answers yet, but I refuse to let you dictate my life anymore. Ethan chuckled, but it was a mirthless sound. You really think you can just waltz back into my world and play this game on your own terms? It doesn't work like that. His eyes narrowed, and Clara took a moment to breathe deeply, steadying herself against the calm facade he exuded. I don't see it as a game, Ethan. This is my life we're talking about, and I'm tired of living in fear. With that declaration, she felt a shift in her stance. She was no longer just responding to him, she was asserting herself, claiming her power to speak. Ethan's expression hardened, a flicker of annoyance crossing his features. Fine, Clara. You want to dig into everything? You're welcome to try. Just remember you might not like what you find. Clara felt the weight of those words penetrate through her defenses. Let us find out then, she replied, forcing her voice to remain steady despite the tremor of remnant anxiety coiling in her stomach. Ethan leaned forward, his interest sharpening as he regarded her closely. And what will you do if things turn darker than you expect? Are you ready to walk that path? I've already walked through darkness, Ethan, she shot back. You don't know the half of what I've faced, and what I'll do to protect what's mine. The truth in her words held an unshakable weight, and she could sense a ripple of tension play across Ethan's face. Just then, the door swung open, a bell chiming merrily to interrupt their tense exchange. Clara's eyes darted towards it, only to see Jack walking in. He spotted Clara immediately, and a flash of concern washed over his face. He quickly made his way to the table, but as his gaze landed on Ethan, his demeanor shifted. "What is going on here?" "Just a friendly dinner," Ethan replied smoothly, the predator primed with confidence. "You know how it is catching up with old friends. Is that what you call it?" Jack's voice was low, as a barely restrained anger simmered beneath his surface. "Clara, are you okay?" "I'm fine, Jack," she reassured him, sensing his protective instinct. "This is about me reclaiming my narrative. I don't like the idea of you sitting here with him," Jack insisted, his gaze unwavering from Ethan. "This guy has a reputation, and it's not a good one." Clara felt a swell of gratitude for Jack's concern. "I can handle this. I need to do this," she urged, her voice firm yet tinged with vulnerability. She turned her focus back to Ethan. "Let us cut the pretense. You need something from me, and I want to know what it is. No more games." Ethan's smile thinned, and a shadow passed briefly over his face. "I might have a proposal for you, but know that nothing comes without a price." She could almost scent the challenge in the air. "What kind of proposal?" Clara pushed, refusing to relinquish her grip on courage. "A chance to reinvigorate this diner." "Clara," he replied, calmly leaning back as though he were offering her gold. "I can fund all the changes you want to make, but you must be willing to follow certain protocols." "Why are you doing this?" Clara demanded, suspicion lacing her tone. "What do you gain out of it?" "Let us just say I believe in second chances," he said, seemingly unperturbed. "But we both know you're not cut out for this on your own. Think long and hard about what you want." The conversation hung in the air precariously, and Clara could feel the weight of two worlds colliding: her desire for control and Ethan's arrogant suggestions. She glanced towards Jack, who stood firm beside her, ready to defend but also confused, searching her eyes for the right cue. Ethan stood, casually adjusting his jacket. "I'll leave you two to discuss. Clara, consider my offer. I'll give you a deadline to think it over. Don't keep me waiting," he added casually before striding out, leaving Clara momentarily stunned. The very air felt charged, and the buzz of conversation returned, filling the gap he left behind. "Are you really considering this?" Jack asked, concern clouding his features. "No," Clara shook her head quickly. "But he's right about one thing: I can't do this alone. If I want to save this diner, I'll need more support than just what we're building." They shared a rallying glance, Jack's fierce determination clashing with Clara's dawning reality. "Then we'll figure out a way around him. Together," Jack promised, determination lighting up his eyes. Clara could feel a warmth growing inside her, a sense of unity. In that moment, Clara knew the truth. She didn't have to take the bait Ethan dangled. Not when she had a community rallying behind her. She felt her worries slip away, briefly masked by a sense of purpose. That evening, as Clara returned to the diner, the sound of laughter enveloped her like a comforting embrace. Emily was there, her small hands gripping a coloring book, chatting away with the regulars while Lisa served coffee and warmth to everyone around. Clara smiled, feeling the weight drop off her shoulders. This was not just a diner, it was home. And together, they would protect it with everything they had. She took a deep breath, drawing in the comforting sense of the grill and the sweetness of morning coffee. Everything they built together would withstand the storm. No more alone, no more fear. She belonged here, with her community, and they would weather any storm together. "Let us get to work," she told Jack, a newfound sparkle igniting in her eyes. The battle was far from over, but she felt fortified, ready to face whatever came next. As the clock ticked forward, she prepared to reclaim her life, and nothing, absolutely nothing, would stand in her way. Together they'd rise again, stronger than ever. If you felt inspired by Clara's journey and want to continue following powerful transformations like this, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Hit that like button right now to feed the algorithm and keep these stories coming. We can't do this without you. Don't wait, not even one more second, to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your voice matters. Let us know in the comments what you think about Clara's courageous stand.